For years, I was a full-blown self-help junkie. I did it all: the 5 a.m. wake-ups, the ice-cold showers, the journaling, the motivational podcasts. I was following the playbook that every guru promised would lead to success and happiness. But the harder I tried, the worse I actually felt. I was anxious, insecure, and felt like I was constantly failing. It took me way too long to figure out that my exhaustion wasn't a personal flaw, it was a feature of the system. You're told to hustle harder and just think positive, but this advice is a psychological trap. Today, we're taking it apart. Section 1. The Promise of Perfection. It all starts with a simple, incredibly seductive promise. You are just one habit, one mindset shift, or one purchase away from a better you. The self-help industry, which is expected to grow into a nearly $65 billion market in 2025, is built entirely on this idea. It offers a blueprint for life. Follow these steps, adopt this morning routine, think only these thoughts, and you'll finally unlock your true potential. And I bought into it, big time. My bookshelf was a shrine to optimization. My mornings were a rigid set of rituals I believed would forge me into a productivity machine. I told myself I was building discipline, that I was chasing greatness. But really, I was building myself a cage. For years, I was a full-blown self-help junkie. I did it all: the 5 a.m. wake-ups, the ice-cold showers, the journaling, the motivational podcasts. I was following the playbook that every guru promised would lead to success and happiness. But the harder I tried, the worse I actually felt. I was anxious, insecure, and felt like I was constantly failing. It took me way too long to figure out that my exhaustion wasn't a personal flaw, it was a feature of the system. You're told to hustle harder and just think positive, but this advice is a psychological trap. Today, we're taking it apart. The Promise of Perfection. It all starts with a simple, incredibly seductive promise. You are just one habit, one mindset shift, or one purchase away from a better you. The self-help industry, which is expected to grow into a nearly $65 billion market in 2025, is built entirely on this idea. It offers a blueprint for life. Follow these steps, adopt this morning routine, think only these thoughts, and you'll finally unlock your true potential. And I bought into it, big time. My bookshelf was a shrine to optimization. My mornings were a rigid set of rituals I believed would forge me into a productivity machine. I told myself I was building discipline, that I was chasing greatness, but really, I was building myself a cage. Every time I'd hit the snooze button, it wasn't just because I was tired. It meant I was a failure. Every day I didn't feel overwhelmingly positive was just more proof I wasn't trying hard enough. The language of self-improvement is black and white. You're either crushing it, or you're falling behind. There's no room for a middle ground, no room for simply being human. This all-or-nothing thinking turns small setbacks into signs of total defeat. Instead of feeling empowered, I was filled with a constant, low-level anxiety. I was measuring my real life against some impossible standard, and the gap between who I was and who I was supposed to be just kept getting wider. The very system I turned to for a fix was the thing that was breaking me. The psychological trap. A systemic critique. Here's the thing: that feeling of failure isn't an accident. It's the core of the business model. The self-help industry isn't really selling you improvement. It's selling you the idea of improvement. And for that to work, it first has to convince you that you're not good enough as you are. So, how does this trap actually work? First, you have the perfectionism paradox. The industry creates this flawless ideal of success: the millionaire who wakes up at 4 a.m., meditates for an hour, runs a marathon, and closes 3 deals before lunch. This isn't inspiration, it's a kind of psychological warfare. By showing you an impossible standard, it guarantees you'll always feel like you're coming up short. Author Mark Manson points out that people often get hooked on self-help because they feel like something is wrong with them, and the content they consume just reinforces that feeling. You feel bad, you consume self-help, the content reminds you of your flaws, and the cycle continues. Second, there's the weaponization of toxic positivity. Harmless-sounding phrases like "good vibes only" or "happiness is a choice" are actually incredibly damaging. They act as a form of emotional suppression. When you're told to just be positive, it dismisses your very real and valid feelings of sadness, anger, or fear. This forces you into a performance of being okay, which leads to deep feelings of shame and isolation. You start feeling guilty for having normal human emotions, as if you're defective for not being happy all the time. Third is the business of action faking. Be honest, how many hours have you spent watching videos about productivity instead of actually doing the work? How many books have you read about starting a business instead of, starting it? You're not lazy. You're action faking. You get a little dopamine hit from learning about doing something, which feels like progress, but is really just a clever form of procrastination. The industry loves this. It's much easier to sell you a course or a planner than to guide you through the messy, often boring reality of actual growth. Some studies have even found that consuming certain self-help materials can lead to more stress and depressive symptoms. It's an addiction to the idea of change, while you stay exactly where you are. And finally, the part they do and want you to think about, the financial model depends on you never quite getting there. If a self-help product actually fixed you for good, you'd no longer be a customer. The goal is to create repeat customers, always searching for the next fix. They sell you a system, and when that doesn't work, they sell you the advanced system. It's a brilliant business model, and it's built on keeping you stuck. If any of this is hitting home, and you're getting something out of this breakdown, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. We're all about taking these ideas apart to figure out what really works. The solution, a mindset shift. So, if the hamster wheel of self-improvement is a trap, what's the alternative? Do we just give up and settle for mediocrity? Not at all. The answer isn't to abandon growth, but to change how we approach it. It's about shifting from self-improvement to self-acceptance. The most radical and healthy thing you can do is to start with the idea that you are already enough. Real growth doesn't come from a place of self-hatred, it comes from a place of self-acceptance. The self-help gurus tell you to love yourself after you change. The truth is, you can only create lasting change after you accept yourself. Think about it. You can't bully yourself into being a better person. Lasting change is fueled by compassion, not by criticism. From there, we can redefine what progress even looks like. First, trade perfection for good enough. Instead of a massive life overhaul, focus on small, sustainable wins. Did you only have the energy for a 10-minute walk instead of a 30-minute run? That's not a failure, that's a victory. You moved your body. Did you meditate for 3 minutes instead of 20? Awesome, you took a moment for yourself. Growth is slow and messy. When you celebrate the small wins, you build real momentum without that crushing weight of perfectionism. Next, you have to embrace productive rest. Hustle culture has branded rest as laziness, but it's a biological necessity. Our brains and bodies need cycles of effort and recovery. Without rest, you burn out. End of story. Rest isn't the enemy of progress, it's a crucial part of it. Schedule your downtime with the same seriousness you schedule your work. Protect your sleep. Let yourself do nothing. It's in those quiet moments that our minds actually process experiences and make sense of what we've learned. Finally, become the author of your own life. Instead of blindly following a guru, start listening to yourself. Before you adopt some life-changing habit, ask a simple question. Does this actually line up with my values and what I truly need right now? Maybe you don't need a 5 a.m. cold shower. Maybe what you really need is another hour of sleep. The goal is to stop being a passive consumer of advice and start being the active architect of your own growth. The self-help industry sells a myth, the idea that you can optimize your way to a perfect, happy life, but it's a promise designed to sell products, and it often leaves you feeling more anxious and exhausted than when you began. The way out of this trap isn't a new life hack. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with yourself. It's understanding that self-acceptance is where growth begins, not a prize you get at the finish line. It's about being kind to yourself on the days you fall short and remembering that you're a human being, not a machine to be optimized. The real path to a better life doesn't involve hustling harder. It starts with the radical, revolutionary idea that who you are right now, in this moment, is already worthy. And all the growth that follows isn't about fixing a flaw, but about expressing a wholeness that was there all along.